Okay, so hi everyone. It's great to be able to meet you and to be able to make this event even maybe better than the events we could have made before the era of the Zoom, I think, and maybe I would explain shortly later why. So welcome abroad, ברוכים הבאים, hoş geldiniz. We are now launching the Hebrew version, which is only one half of the Turkish Hebrew-Turkish anthology that shall be called Under the Same Sun, or in Hebrew, The Same Sun, which derives, if I remember correctly, Gökçe, you can correct me, from a Turkish saying that relates the Jewish people in Turkey to the Turkish people in Turkey, saying we used to hang our laundry under the same sun. Is it true?
We dried our laundry under the same sun. It just implies that Turkish and Jewish communities are living together so long and we shared everything.
So long together.
Yes, okay, so today we would share like the most precious of all of our treasures, which is our poems and our translations. I was a member of one of the poetry translation workshops in Istanbul. That is only one of many that happened between Helicon. And Gökçe, maybe you can say more a little bit later about the Istanbul side of that.
When we first started working with Helicon, with the workshops, it was the Word Express project that time. We were working with Literature Across Frontiers, dear Alexandra Buchler, and the British Council. That time we had a project called Word Express, including 12 countries all over the Balkans, Israeli and Georgia and Armenia. So we organized many poetry translation workshops, and first of the events we started with Israeli poets with Helicon was a poetry performance workshop actually in Tel Aviv, part of Shahar Poetry Festival. I think it was 2010. And then it followed a poetry translation workshop in Istanbul, another poetry translation workshop in a kibbutz, in Ain HaShofet kibbutz, and I think one more translation workshop in Tel Aviv again. So in all these poetry translation workshops, we translated our friends writing in Hebrew into Turkish or English as a bridge language, but we were always together and we could ask any question to each other, and vice versa. Our friends translated our poems, Turkish poems, into Hebrew. Now the Hebrew version of the anthology, Hebrew half of the anthology is published, and soon the Turkish half of the anthology is going to be published.
And now we are acting as Istanbul Offline Magazine and Festival.
Yes, Istanbul Offline International Poetry Festival and
That's
magazine.
the Istanbul side of things in a way.
Great. What I found, I think for me, the most special maybe of all was the opportunity to be able, yes, to speak to the other poets and to have an intimate conversation from something that is sometimes a very lonely work of translating. And I would like to invite each of you, I would call you out to read a poem, first the Hebrew poets and then the Turkish originals. And I would like each one of you reading to also take your time and maybe share your experience about the workshops and about the processes, about the work of translations, or about the poem you're reading. And I would like to start by reading a poem I translated from a very, very good friend from Istanbul, Nurduran Duman, and it's called SOP. נוהל פעולה שגרתי. על אף כל מה שאולי תאמר יקירי, ביצעתי את כל הרציחות. מעל העיר היו 7 כוכבים. הרחובות חשפו רגליים, מרפסות עמדו עירומות. הנה צלקת האומץ הלחי, נטשתי את צילי תחת רגלי הילדים. הצלקת שיש לי משמאל מלשנית. הלילה כבר צלל לרחם העיר, בשמיים 7 כוכבים אדומים. העוני עבד ערך רגליים חטף את קולי. לא הצלחתי לתפוס פרברים שהופלו לנגד עיניי. ביצעתי את כל הרציחות. הנה הרובה, הנה ידיי, טביעות אצבעותיי, דגימת הדם. שמרתי על שתיקה. הנה ההקלטות. I would like to invite now Tahel to read a poem by Gokchenur and to say maybe something about your experience from translating in the workshop. And then right afterwards, I would like you, Gokche, to say something about your experience and to read maybe before the Turkish version of the poem. It has 2 pages. So.
Yes. Okay, the poem called, and I will read it in Hebrew, בשבח הפעולה הקונקרטית של היד. הנחתי את ראשי על חזך העירום, הדם טפטף מהאף שלי וזרם, הלובן בטנך עד למפסעה. אמרתי, חשבתי שמילים יכולות להציל אותי, אבל אני שוב לא מאמין שדימוי יכול לזעזע יותר ממכה בעורף. כמה טיפש הייתי שחשבתי שתגובת השרשרת שתתחיל בשירים שלי תשנה את העולם. אלה שמשנים את העולם לא מפחדים לגעת בדברים עצמם בידיים חשופות, עם ידי החיה שלהם, עם ידי הלילה שלהם. הם יכולים לקשור את צרוכי הנעליים בניסיון ראשון. הם יכולים לדפוק מסמר בלי לחופף אותו. הם יכולים לפתוח מכסה צנצנת תקוע. הם מאכילים את הידיים שלהם כמו עורבי אש. משקים את הידיים שלהם כמו הרדופים. משחיזים את ידיהם בלילה. מרצ'ים את המציאות בידיים שלהם, מיישבים חשבון עם העולם בידיים שלהם. אלה שמשנים את העולם אינם בעלי הרעיונות הטובים, אלא יכולים לאחוז בכוח המהפכה ללא פחד. רעיונות טובים מופיעים ונעלמים בכל מקום, בגלל שרעיון טוב הוא כלום, לפני שמשתלט עליו פעיל מהפכני. שורה של שיר, גם אם היא קשה יותר מעצם העקב ודקה יותר מעצם השוק, ריקה וקלה כמו עצם של ציפור, גמישה כמו זנב של לטאה, ישרה כמו עצם השוקה או כבדה כמו עצם של פיל, יכולה להצמיח ציפורן כחולה שחורה על פני הגוף. תראי, שוב אני מדבר שטויות. העין משחירה כשהיא מקבלת אגרוף. זה הכל. הייתי מעדיף להכות באגרוף מאשר לכתוב שירה. So, our workshop was so long ago. I think it was, in what year was it? It was...
2010? 10? No, that's the first time.
Yes, the first time.
Maybe 2013, maybe?
13,
Yeah, 13, yes.
I think this was a workshop that was really was imprinted in me. I took this experience forward because the translation experience was so intensive because it was with you. Like we were in the same room every day in the kibbutz, and we sat and we did this dialogue between us about every line and every word of the poems, of the English poems. And we asked all the time, what did you mean? What was the meaning of the poem for you or for me when we wrote the poems? And we had this, because of this experience of the poems that were so personal, we have to really know you. Like we knew something about you, about your emotional and psychological being before we knew you in this experience. And for me, it was like I understood something about poetry through this experience of talking to you during this process of translations. And it was very strong knowing. It was like body knowing what it was to write poetry and what was the meaning of poetry. And when I read this poem, which I received, and I identify with you, Gökçe. I identified with you immediately, and I identify with what you said. I identified back then, and once again, right now.
Thank you, Tahal. Thank you.
Yeah, Tahal spoke in the name of all of us. What this wonderful experience of translation workshop is, in a way.
Yes. I later thought after these translation workshops, the mutual translation workshop is a kind of group therapy, actually. It's not only about translating one poem from one language to the other. And usually there is a certain relation between the translator and the poet. And there are certain limits, what can you ask to the poet? I mean, usually when you ask the poet as a translator, what do you mean here? The poet would say, go away, find yourself. But when it's a mutual translation workshop, we are in the same room for days and we know very well we will receive the question we are going to ask. And also when we receive the question, we know we are going to ask the same question. So there are no barriers between the poet and the translator. We want each other to understand each other. I want Tahal to understand me. I want Jonathan to understand me. Hila to understand me. Because there is one certain knowledge under that. We know we can understand each other. It's not someone else. We don't believe in the end they won't understand us. We know we will understand each other. And suddenly we find ourselves just to be able to explain one metaphor or one line to each other. We find ourselves telling the darkest secrets of our childhood, or even now, we tell each other our darkest secrets, the family situations, and what we afraid, what we love. And so the most important outcome of these poetry translation workshops is, I think, friendship. Is a sustainable long-term friendship. The secondary output is the translated poem text itself, which I am very happy we have the anthology, at least the half of the anthology right now. But from the first day on, we had this friendship together with us, and I think it's very important for me, and I hope for all of us.
Thank you. I really agree. And I also remember I was part of the translation workshop in Istanbul, and I remember it like some sort of a very funny concretization of a metaphor where like we just extracted secrets from one another by drinking or by running away from everyone and taking a tour through Kadıköy. And there was something that makes one really spoiled in that manner, because you get to ask, what does it sound like in your language? What does that remind you of? Is that like some sort of an idiom that exists in your language that I would probably never speak well? And that's like sort of a gift, I think, for us. And I would like to ask you, Sheila.
But doesn't Gökçenur read his poem in Turkish? Didn't you say that?
Gökçe, you didn't read to us your poem.
Okay, I'm going to read it. Başımı çıplak göğüslerine yasladığımda, burnumdan damlayan kan, karnının aklığından kasığına doğru akıyordu. Sözcükler dedim, beni korur sanıyordum. Artık inanmıyorum bir imgenin insanın ensesine inen bir darbeden daha sarsıcı olabileceğine. Sanmıştım ki dizelerimle başlatacağım tepkime dizisi dünyayı değiştirecek. Ne saflık. Dünyayı değiştirenler, şeylere elleriyle dokunmaktan korkmayanlar, hayvan ayaklı elleriyle, gece ayaklı elleriyle, ayakkabısını bir kerede bağlayabilenler, eğmeden keserle çivi çakabilenler, sıkışmış konserve kapaklarını açabilenler, ellerini bir ateş kargası gibi besleyenler, ellerini zakkum gibi sulayanlar, ellerini geceyle bileyenler, elleriyle gerçekliğin karnını deşenler, elleriyle yaşamla ödeşenler, dünyayı değiştirenler iyi fikirleri olanlar değil, ellerinde korkmadan yıkma gücünü tutanlar. Her yerde yeni düşünceler belirip yok oluyor. Çünkü iyi bir fikir bir hiçtir yıkıcı bir eylemcinin eline geçene kadar. Bir dize, aşık kemiğinden sert, incik kemiğinden ince, bir kuşun kanat kemiği gibi içi boş ve hafif, bir kertenkelenin kuyruk kemiği gibi eklemli, bir kaval kemiği gibi dümdüz, bir fil kemiği kadar ağır bir dize de olsa, mavi mor karanfiller açtırabilir mi Göverente'nin tarlasında? Bak, yine saçmalıyorum. Yumruğu çaktın mı morarıyor göz. Hepsi bu işte. Şiir yazabileceğime yumruk atabilmek isterdim.
Çok teşekkür ederim.
Teşekkürler.
Sheila, I would like to ask you now to maybe first of all, I would like to ask you, I don't know if everyone here in this Zoom room knows that Sheila is an outstanding translator. And
thank you.
And I would like to ask you something about maybe if you have anything to say about like maybe the difference between this, like maybe the loneliest work of all literary works and these workshops. And then I would like you to read your translation to Rosa by Mehmet Altun.
Okay. So for me, translation is the most frustrating and the most pleasing way of writing. It is a very lonely kind of work, but a beautiful lonely kind of work. It's a very good way to be lonely, I think. And I think it is the most interesting and deep way to know a language, and of course to know poetry and to know something about poetry, but mostly to know something about words and about your language and about the boundaries of language and the way these boundaries can frustrate us, but also keep us, keep us from troubles. And I love it more than anything else that I do that is concerned with writing. It's a way one can talk about, write the most inner secrets or the most intimate things by using someone else's voice. So it's a kind of a merge that I really enjoy, and it allows me to be a parasite in a good way. So I love it. And by the way, Chala, it's so nice to see you here, and you look beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, because thanks. Chala is the only one I know from the workshop I've been in this year. So, so I will read a poem by Mehmet Altun, who unfortunately is not here. I don't know why. Which I met at the workshop. I think it was October or November or something like that.
Yeah, November.
What?
November.
November, yes. It was November, it was the fall, and everything was nicer then. So the poem is called Rosa. And
did we see? We can all see it on the screen. Thank you.
Yeah. So I translated it with Mehmet, actually, by talking with him and looking at the Turkish, looking at the English. And it's a very short poem, but there were a lot of difficulties there because some of the things in this poem are deeply related to Turkish culture and Turkish rituals. And there was no way I would be able to know that without, just from the English. So talking to Mehmet really enabled me, I was able to get into that. רוזה. אנשים נושאים את כאבם לכל מקום, רוזה. שפתיהם החרבות לא יוודאו לאיש זולתם, בזולת האחד שהתמזג עמם. כמה פעמים מת אדם, רוזה, עם האפר מונח בכור האש. כמה פעמים קם אדם ועולה. אני נחשף, רוזה, את יודעת. לך, אמרת לי, אחכה. כמה רחוק אגיע. כמה יעלו חומותיי לגבוה.
Thank you. This, I think this poem, this translation is a very good example of sometimes it's important to know what matters to a poet when you translate them, if they can choose. And I think for Mehmet, the maybe one of the most important things is music, and that's something that often passes through the poems, through the translations when they're good. I know because when I translated some of his poems, I had to read them in 4 languages to make sure about the meanings, because the music stayed in a way sometimes more loyal through translations than the literal sense. And speaking of music, this was a very elegant transition. Yinon Mualem.
Hello.
Shalom.
Hey. I'm sorry, it's first time for me in Zoom.
So welcome. Yinon, you were actually a big part of the translation workshop that we had in Istanbul. We also got to play beautiful music together.
That's true. That's true. Actually, I was, in that time I was serving like 3 years of my life as the cultural attaché in Istanbul. And I think that what I did with you and with Helicon was the most meaningful activity for me at that time. Exactly because of this connection, connecting cultures, connecting people, it was really nice.
Thank you, Yinon. It's very meaningful for me to hear that, actually. Thank you.
Really, it's as a artist, as a musician, as what I did, the most meaningful for me, the most thing that filled my heart all those years was making always something between the countries, the cultures, the people. Every time I came with Turkish musicians to Israel, I was so proud. Every time I came with Israeli musicians to Turkey, I was so proud. Yeah, it is meaningful.
Will you play something for us, Yinon?
For you? Yeah, sure. So I just finished working about music that I wrote last year, and it's really connected with hope And actually, the name of the piece is Heal. And I wrote it after I got sick last year. I got sick with rheumatoid arthritis, but I'm really fine. And then I was inspired from some incidents, and then I wrote this music, and I just finished it with a group, of course, and we made a video clip. I hope I can show it really soon. But meanwhile, maybe I can play a part of this piece if you want. This is part of the music. Yeah.
Thank you, Inon. I would now like to, I would like us to hear a poem by Chala Meknuze. Chala and I first saw one another in Zoom. This was also, we never actually met face to face, but we saw one another in Zoom in a international poetry workshop, which is something I think I find even funnier than an international translation workshop. And I would like, Shira, I would like to ask you to read a poem first, and then Chalam, you can read it in Turkish and maybe tell us something about the experience.
צ'אלה מקנוזה. ובכל זאת אין עדות היסטורית לנשים שגילו עולם. שבתי אל עצמי הפנימית, דרך כל ערי העולם ישנתי. עיניי נותרו פקוחות בקצה הפלנטה, שם השמש לא שוקעת, ובעבר השני נעמו לי גם הדמדומים. עברתי דרך ארצות של אהבה, של מלחמה, של רעב, ומעולם לא חשתי שאיני במקומי. הבוקר טוב שלך מהדהד שפות נכחדות. אנחנו מזהים את קצבם של שבטים נידחים. כדור הארץ עגול. הלילה הזה הוא העדות שאני במקום שממנו התחלתי, ואליך הגעתי.
Thank you, Shira. Shala, can we hear it?
So I'm reading in Turkish now.
Yes, please.
Döndüm içime, uyudum dünyanın tüm şehirlerini. Kapanmadı gözlerim, güneşi batmayan yüzünde gezegenin. Sonra yetindim alacakaranlığıyla diğer köşenin. Geçtim, kimi aşk, kimi savaş, kimi açlık ülkelerini. Hiçbirinde yadırgamadım yerini. Dünyanın tınısı var, nice bir konuşulmayan dillerin. İsmine aşinayız, tanınmamış kabilelerin. Dünya yuvarlak, kırıntı bir gece, başladığım yerdeyim, vardığım yerdesin.
Thank you. Jonathan, I have two requests from you. I would like to ask for you to read to us a poem by Onur Beramulu, and I would like to hear something about your input about the workshops.
In which order you want it, you know?
It's up to you.
Wow. So much freedom.
Yes, maybe we can see the poem on the screen when you read, so maybe you can tell us and not keep us.
I would start by saying something about the translation workshop, and then I will read it. I thought today about something that happened while we were translating one of Onur's poems. In one of his poems, he puts inside parts of sentences, quotes from the Quran. And I read the Quran a long time ago before we did the workshop, and I was very impressed by the charisma of the Quran. But I didn't understand the lyrical, let's say, part of it or potential of it. And then Onur brought us a quote that I want to read in Hebrew, okay, that Almog Bahar, another poet, another Hebrew poet, translated, and it goes like this. אשבע בתאנים ובזיתים ובהר סיני, כי בראנו את האדם בצורה המתוקנת ביותר, ואז החזירנהו אל שפל השפילות, העין אלוהים הטוב שבשופטים. And once I read it from Onur, I understood what is lying there inside the Quran that I wasn't able to touch it. And I thought about it today, that I think poetry, translation, but first of all, poetry is something like that. We, as poets, take parts of the language, parts of the history of the language, of the deeper layers of the language. We mix it with our spiritual being, with our emotions, with our perspective, and then we give it back to the culture. And I think this is what we do in poetry, but also I think this is what translation does. When we get the Turkish translation, we get something from there. We get a quote from the Turkish art, from the Turkish being, from the Turkish inner language, and we bring it into Hebrew. In a way, it's the same thing as the Quran, you know, Onur poem is the Turkish poetry that we get into our language. So in a way, we understand Turkey through the way the Turkish poet understands the language and the deeper meaning of being in the Turkish language. And for me, it's in a way the most deepest and complex way of understanding the world. Okay, when I read translated poetry, I think, anyway, I meet the deepest places in the language of the place I visited. And I think for me, being in the workshop and reading the Turkish poetry, for me was like a tunnel that anyway I felt that I'm going very deeply into the Turkish, you know, being or psychology of Quran as a metaphor, not as the book. Okay, I hope I was understandable, and now I'm going to read the poem. כמה פרחי אש לנשמת מוחמד בועזיזי. אמהות עניות יולדות, פעם אל להבה, פעם אל אש. זרח המניעה, תינוק פצפון, מבוכתו של מוחמד, ושהיה בן 3, בין זרועות הלילה, הוא גדל ברגע. בנו של פועל, בן יתום אומלל, כמיהתו של מוחמד. יום אחד זרוע, יום אחר כנף. הדוד החליף את האב, המנהיגים המשיכו בשלהם. הוא היה חייב לעבוד. היו לו 6 אחים. מצוקתו של מוחמד. שחר, is a bit down? Yeah. אח מול אח, ודם חם מתלהט, הוא לא יכול להפגין את ניצוץ האש שבתוכו כבודו של מוחמד. האל, תוניס והציפורים נטשו אותו. האל, תוניס והציפורים, דוכן הירקות שלו נבעט ונפל, זעמו של מוחמד. בן של פועל, הצית את הגפרורים, קילה את פרעה. הוא שאמר, מי שיש לו לב, הוא יקרא עשיר, הנביא מוחמד.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Ila.
Now I would like to read to you in Hebrew one of my favorite poems of the anthology. And I would like Efe to follow me in Turkish and to say a couple of words later. It's called, in Turkish, it's called Hoş geldiniz. In English, it's called hello. And in Hebrew, it's called Moked Telefoni. Moked Telefoni. הלו? עבור ימים שרצת בהם חסר מנוחה סביב מגרש המשחקים, לחץ ואקראי על כל המספרים. לחברים מבית הספר שנקראו פתאום בדרכך, אנא, הקש את מספר המזל שלך. לחלונות מלאי ידים של מסעדה זולה, הקש את השנה של חופשת הקיץ המשפחתית. לכל אחד תקופה שהוא מתבייש בה. אל תספר לאף אחד מה המספרים שבחרת עבורה. עבור הלחם והריבה שאכלת לארוחת הבוקר על דשא האוניברסיטה, הנח את השפורפרת וצא למרפסת. אם אתה רוצה להתלונן על הזמן שטס בזעם, בבקשה לחץ חזק על הכפתור. אם אתה מבין שאינך זוכר את סבא שלך, בדיוק כפי שהוא היה, הבט במראה, גם אתה מזדקן. עבור ספרים מאובקים בחנויות יד שנייה, ציין את האות השלישית בשמו של פועל האלפבית. לחיית השכונה שלך, שנמצא מת עטוף בסמרטוטים, אנא המתן. עבור הרגע בו ליטפת את צווארה של אישה, חייגת אותו המספר שוב ושוב. בדידות היא סיכת הראש שעונדת האישה בחלום הזה. שחרר את הסיכה לאחר הצפצוף. יום לאחר הפרידה, כתוב במחברת 100 פעם, לעולם לא אתאהב שוב. Beep.
And I'm very, very happy that we are launching this anthology. It was a dream. It has been a dream for years in a way, because this long-term interaction between Israeli and Turkish poets has been something marvelous, a great adventure, I think, for all of us, like personally, but also I think that it is a sort of success in terms of cultural diplomacy, don't you think so? Because what we did, thanks to our personal relations, thanks to our friendship, and thanks to our love to poetry, has resulted in this great platform network of artists. We did several workshops. We managed to publish so many poems in magazines, and now this great anthology itself, and the visits that we did to each other's countries. So many things happened. We produced so much. So I'm really, really happy, and let me put it this way, I'm proud of ourselves. So it's and what this all started in a time, okay, not started, but our kibbutz workshop, it was one of the highlights of this whole process, which dates back to 2010, as Gökçe put it. it happened during a time of serious crisis between Turkey and Israel, if you remember. And at this time of this diplomatic issues, when there is maybe no diplomatical connections between two countries, we managed to do this wonderful workshop. And afterwards, we only put new bricks on top of this basis. And now here we are. And all those workshops, and they also mean to me a lot. You all said, you all shared my feelings about them. What I can only add is that I also learned quite a lot about myself, because being together with a poet, translating each other, allowed me to see myself in somebody else's mirror. So I see myself from somebody else's eyes. And it was really interesting to see myself that naked in a way. And I learned quite a lot about myself and also about my own poetry. Also, when I was translating, when you translate, you put somebody else's clothes and you look into their poetry, but you use your language. So it's again, it's about friendship, but it is also about ourselves. So I'm a big fan of translation workshops, and I can only hope that we will continue doing them, not leave it here as we have the anthology now. Let this anthology be a gate towards bigger things and more interaction between Turkish and Israeli poets. And well, let me read my poem now, which is about call centers. And after talking about those interactions, I think it simply fits to read this call center poem, where I use this daily language when I try to reintegrate and reconstruct the daily language in the mirror of poetry. Çağrı Merkezi. Hoş geldiniz. Okul arkadaşlarınızla tanıştığınız güne dönmek için lütfen uğurlu sayınızı tuşlayınız. Bahçede yorulmaksızın koşturduğunuz zamanlar için rastgele tüm rakamlara basınız. Kamyoncu lokantalarının buharlıca mekanları için ailecek çıkılmış son yaz tatilinin yılını kollayınız. Herkesin vardır çok utandığı anlar. Tuttuğunuz rakamı kimseye söylemeyiniz. Üniversite seçimlerinde çay ve poğaçalı kahvaltılar için hemen ayizeyi bırakıp balkona çıkınız. Zamanın apar topar geçmesinden şikayetçiyseniz lütfen tüm gücünüzle sıfıra bastırınız. Dedenizi tam hatırlayamadığınızı fark ettiyseniz aynaya bakın lütfen. Sahafların tozlu kitap kokusu için okuma yazma bilmeyen bir işçinin adındaki 3. harfi söyleyiniz. Yırtık pırtık elbiseleriyle ölü bulunmuş mahalle terziniz için lütfen bekleyiniz. Uykunuzdaki kadının boynuna dokunduğunuz o sonrası bilinmez an için bip sesinden sonra arka arkaya aynı sayıya basınız. Terk edildiğinizin ertesi günü deftere 100 kere bir daha aşık olmayacağım yazınız. Bip.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hila.
Thank you, Efe. We are almost coming to an end.
It reminded me some things I would like to say, Hila.
Yes.
I forgot to say, when I first came to Israel, it was only 4 days after the Mavi Marmara incident. Everyone told me, how can I dare to go to Tel Aviv in that time? And I said, I'm going to meet with friends, but what can happen? So as soon as I arrived there, I met most of you for the first time, but I was surrounded with friends. And Efe said he hopes we are going to continue to interaction with Israeli poetry. Actually, if this Corona thing didn't happen, we were going to have the Offline Istanbul Festival in the middle of May. almost in a month. And Israel was going to be our guest of honor country in the festival. So we were going to have another workshop, maybe in Istanbul, maybe in Izmir, I don't know. And we were going to have Israeli as the guest of honor country in our Offline Istanbul Poetry Festival. So I'm sure we will be cooperating again and again in the future, because what we do is just to try to find our soulmates around the world. And when we find them, we like to stick them like we stick our friends here.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I would like to ask maybe to end with another last round, another one poem from each of our friends from Istanbul. And maybe we would start with Çağla, because at the end with the audio problems, we also didn't hear you speak. So I would also like to, I would like you to read another poem, and I would like to hear you.
Another try.
Okay. And may I add something? The Tel Aviv days and this workshop was the really best thing to me last year. And this lockdown times, so in those days, I smell, it's interesting, but I smell Yafa in my home. Interesting. And I'm so glad to reach you in those days and being in this anthology with you. So I'm reading in Turkish, Hila.
Yes, or in English as you like, and we can see it on the screen also.
Okay. You see English one, I'm reading in Turkish.
Great. It was translated into Hebrew by Maya Tevet Dayan.
Yeah. Okay. Seni bekledim. Ateş böceklerini kafesliyor, ipek böceklerini kaynatıyordu insanlar. Seni bekledim. Denizden balık çalıyorlardı. Koyundan kuzu. Seni bekledim. Dikten kaçan filleri vurdular. Atları kırbaçladılar. Seni bekledim. Köylerin adı değişti. Satıldı kız çocukları. Seni bekledim. Ormanlar yakıldı. Parlandı ateşe olan açlıkları. Bunca kötülük arasında sevmişiz birbirimizi. Bunca kötülük arasında seni beklerim, beklerim.
Thank you, Çağla. Efe, will you read for us one more poem, please? Unmute yourself.
This could be a very good title for a poem.
I'm such a good student in a way that I always mute myself, only to forget to mute afterwards.
The
Okay.
title for the next anthology.
Yeah, then I will remember it. Good. Let's then I will read the Mehmet and Osman from Cevizli Cigarette Factory. I think.
Yes, and we can also see it on the screen.
Good.
Great.
Perfect. Mehmet'in telaşlı bir Mehmet'i daha var. Baba olduğunda da böyle. Mehmet'in mahcup bir Mehmet'i daha. Evlendiğinde de aynı. Kendine bir de şüpheci Mehmet edindiydi. Mecburiyetten. Keyfi yerindeydi Mehmetlerin. Hemen dibinde Osman'ın hiç tanımadığı Osmanları. Fedakar bir Mehmet'i de var mıydı? Bilmiyor. Yanındakilere doğrulduğunda Minamlu bunu düşünecek vakit bulamadı. Cebinde polis kartıyla Osman'ın gizli Osman'ı, Mehmet'in, cansız Mehmet'in de ilk defa bir tütün işçisinin elini tutunca Mehmet'in inatçı Mehmet'i yürüdü Taksim'e kadar. Üzüldü karısının anılarında, Osman'ın istifa mektubunda yırttı son pişmanlığını. Güzeldi ölümle inatlaşmak, öldükten sonra bile.
Thank you, Efe.
Thank you.
Beautiful poem.
Thank you.
I'm saving the biggest, my eldest brother for the last. And before, I would like to read a poem which you will not have on your screen, but you will have with my projecting voice in Hebrew and English.
Much better.
By Anita Sezgener. I will read it first in Hebrew. It was translated by Eli Eliyahu, Anat Zcharia, and Adi Assis. צורת רבים של טכניקת דיבור. אישה בלעה גבר, בבית היו ביצי סלבים, והשמלות היו גזורות בגזרת קלוש. שאלו את האישה מדוע בלעה אותו. האישה אמרה, כמו רומאי, מיד אחרי שדיבר סתר מה שאמר. גבר בולע אישה. בבית הייתה אבזה עטופה מגבת רטובה. שאלו את הגבר מדוע הוא בולע אותה, הגבר אמר שהיא מאמינה בהתחלות מעורפלות, ושהיא מבולבלת. Second, now I will find plural state of saying technique. A woman swallowed a man. In the house there were quail eggs, and the skirts were circular. They asked the woman why she swallowed him. The woman said, like a Roman. After he talked, he was negating everything he said. A man swallows a woman. A goose was kept in the house wrapped in a wet towel. They asked the man why he swallowed her, and the man said, she believed in vague beginnings, and she was confused. So this is my thanks and my missing my friend Anita. And now, last, I would like to invite Abe, Dr. Nor, to read the last poem.
This one's called Peach Buds on Clear Waters. Şeftali çiçekleri gördün, durgun sular gördün. Ama durgun sularda yüzen şeftali çiçeklerini hiç görmedin. Olsun, yine de gerçekçi bir şiir durgun sularda şeftali çiçekleri. Kesip, yapıştırıp yeni bir dünya yaratmak senin işin. So?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Now it's time for the thank yous. So thank you to all of you who are here, and to all of us who are part of the us and who are not here. So yes, thank you, Gökçe Nurçe. Thank you, Efe Duyan. Thank you, Chala, Meknunze, Tahel, and thank you, Jonathan. And I'm really happy that I could Brady Bunch with you together. It was very special to see you on the screen. And I hope we could see one another in real life real soon.
Yes.
Amen.